All right. Welcome to Getting Personal with Plant Medicine. I'm your host, Diana, and today I am joined by Madalyn Sklar, the host of Kratom Stories podcast. How are you doing today, Madalyn?
I'm great, Diana. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's not too often that I'm the one that gets invited onto a podcast, so I'm super excited about this. The other way
Well, you
around,
should
I'm
be
doing the
because you're
interviewing.
yeah. and you're great at that, but we'll get to that in a minute. um, and I also want to say I really do love your name, by the way. That's Madalyn.
Thank
It's such a
you.
pretty name.
Thank you.
Okay, so Kratom is a huge part of your life, right? It's pretty much everything that you have going on right now. Well, other than the non-Kratom stuff, right? But
Right.
I'm confusing listeners. She has a lot. She has a podcast, a talk, right? Is the Kratom Gals a podcast, or is
It's
that
a live stream. That one,
a live
yeah.
stream? Basically, you're one of the most tireless advocates I've ever met in any plant medicine industry, and I'm just so inspired by you. So let's talk about how you even learned about Kratom. Like, how did Kratom enter your life?
Great question. Well, first of all, I'm able to do all this because of Kratom. Kratom just makes me feel better so I can do all this stuff and be a super advocate. Thank you for the nice introduction, Diana. That was very sweet. How did I first discover Kratom is so interesting because I was in pain management for 9 years, taking opiates every day for my chronic pain. I suffer from degenerative disc disease, and it's been very debilitating for me. I mean, this all started about 20 years ago with a herniated disc in my back. And then over time, everything became chronic and it became more disc and problem. And then my neck got involved. It wasn't just my back, it was my neck too. And so I was in pain management a long time, no issues, getting some pain relief, but not great relief, but enough so I could still work and function and do things and be a mom and all the stuff. And the climate we're in, like these last 10 years, this war on drugs, they're just really going after people in pain management and targeting doctors that are just doing their job and helping people. And so I got dropped from pain management and I never got in trouble, never did anything wrong. I felt you have to like sign a contract. There's all these rules. And I never got in trouble. Yeah, it's a lot. I It's wild when you got like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's a whole other job in itself, honestly.
I used to tell people being in pain management and going to the doctor every month was a part-time job because there was so much to it and they were always busy. So you're there for hours and then you got to go to the pharmacy. And not all the pharmacies will fill opiate prescriptions. And so usually you got to go to one of the specialty ones and they're packed and you got to just sit and wait. And it was just, oh my God. I mean, it would take literally a half a day at least every time I went just to do all of this, just so I'm not suffering in pain. But, doctors got really scared. Or in different parts of the country, they were being thrown in prison. The government they weren't just going after the bad apples. They were targeting, if you wrote a lot of scripts, and pain is subjective. I require high doses of opiates to give me enough pain relief to function. Well, I get dropped and I'm thinking, well, okay, what am I going to do? I guess I got to go find a drug dealer. Like, seriously, I'm like, how do I find a drug dealer? It's like sad, but so many people get put into that position because we still need to take something. And then you're also worrying about withdrawals. Like, oh my God, I've been taking this every day for years. I'm going to definitely, I wasn't addicted, but I'm going to have withdrawals. I was taking Oxycontin, Percocets, a whole lot of stuff and gabapentin. So one night I have Netflix on and a documentary came up called A Leaf of Faith. And I remember watching the trailer and I'm like, this sounds interesting, and talking about this plant and how it helps people for a variety of things. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch it. Sounded interesting enough. The title was interesting. So I watched it and I'm like, there's a plant like you can just take these capsules of this plant called kratom and feel better, and it helps a lot of people with pain relief. Like I was like, there's no way that this could replace the opiates. And I was still like weaning myself down off my meds because I was really close to running out. The doctor gave me like a few months supply, but no other doctor would take over. So I mean, I'm starting to get into panic mode. And I'm thinking I've got to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched the documentary. I'm like, I'm going to buy this stuff and try it. Because I mean, what do I have to lose? It's like drug dealer, or let's just try this plant. I'm like, I think I'd rather try the plant. So I remember in the documentary, they showed this brand, and I'm like, I Googled it and I went online and ordered it and got some capsules, and I'm like, let me give this a go. And I did a lot of research though. Like I spent a lot of time researching. I found some Facebook groups. I did a lot to educate myself because I'm not one to just, oh, let me just pop this pill. I'll even Google and research when the doctor has a new script, like if something new for me. Like I'm going to research everything, so I want to know what I'm putting in my body. I know a lot of people don't do that, but I do. And so like I did research, but it all started with a documentary, A Leaf of Faith. So I really credit that with getting my start in Kratom.
You know, I didn't even know about that documentary until I saw it on your website under your story. Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, what? Netflix? Huh? Okay.
Well, it's not on Netflix anymore. It's now on YouTube, and it's available free. You just go to YouTube, type in A Leaf of Faith, Leaf, L-E-A-F, A Leaf of Faith. But in 2019, it was on Netflix at the time. And so many other people have said the same thing. They said, yeah, I was scrolling on Netflix back then, and documentary came up, and it looked interesting because the picture of the cover was a pill bottle with a plant coming out of it, and it was just so interesting. So yeah, that it all from a documentary. I highly recommend it. It's so well done. It's still very good information today, years later. So definitely. Plus, it has footage of the whole DC advocates going to DC in 2016 when the FDA tried to and CDC were trying to ban kratom and did like a 30-day notice, and they've got it all filmed from DC. They got it all in the documentary. It's really cool.
That is really cool, and it's a testament to how important media is, right? And
absolutely,
that's why those of us that create it surrounding plant medicine have to be mindful about all the different types of ways to use it, all of the different problematic aspects, right? And
absolutely.
If there's anybody that covers that, it's you. I mean, I'm always learning something new from your TikTok. And I love how you include people's comments and you open it up to everybody else. And it's like truly an interactive educational experience. And also your podcast is amazing. And I'm not just saying that because I was on it. But how did you go? But tell me how you went from trying it to becoming a tireless activist.
Well, it's interesting. So when I discovered in 2019, it was life-changing for me. With my background in digital marketing, I'm actually coming up on 30 years in digital marketing. So I've been doing a lot of this stuff for a long time. I know how to do pretty much everything. And I've been podcasting a long time, live streaming a long time. So my first thought was, I mean, this was way back in 2019. I'm like, I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to call it Kratom Stories. So I had the idea. The problem was I couldn't do it initially because at the time I was taking care of my mom. I had moved back home to take care of her. My dad had passed away suddenly. All of this was happening where my life changed with that part of my life when I was losing access to the meds. So my dad passes away suddenly. I'm taking care of my mom. She had a brain injury, so she needed extra help. So somebody had to be with her. And so I moved back home, take care of her, and going through this whole, oh my gosh, I got to go find a drug dealer. Oh, there's a plant called Kratom. I'm like, my life was just craziness at the time. So I knew I'd have to wait on the podcast idea until I was done with that chapter of taking care of my mom. She had dementia and Alzheimer's. Like it was a whole thing. So, but the idea was right away. It's like, I'm going to have a podcast. I'm going to call Kratom Stories. And then I was just watching all the advocacy online without being in the middle of it because I just didn't have the bandwidth to be taking care of my mom, trying to do some work, and then get involved in advocacy, but I had joined the AKA, the American Kratom Association's website, got their emails. So every time something came up where you could send your testimony for maybe a ban hearing here or there, like I always did all the things you can do easily by phone or email. That doesn't require much work or time. But after my mom's passing, I'm like, okay, let me get into this podcast idea. And so it was launched December of 2023. So 2 years, and I just love it. I love hosting this podcast. I love hearing all the stories. I just kept it simple. Kratom Stories Podcast. It says what it is, and it's just people coming on from all walks of life, sharing their story of how they discover Kratom and how it's helped them. And there's so many amazing stories like yours, Diana.
Oh, thank you. So, did you have trial and error during that process of starting the podcast, or had you already kind of figured out what method worked best for you, what strain, all of that?
Oh, starting Kratom? Well, yeah. So when I was doing my research, people talked about how bad it tastes. And they're like, it works great, but it tastes bad. And I'm like, oh man, well, I don't want to taste some nasty powder. So I was doing the capsules in the beginning, and everybody was telling me you want red because you suffer from pain. I'd say, hey, Gallus chronic pain. People said red for pain. That's all everybody said. I don't know anything. I'm trying to educate myself. So I, started using red Kratom capsules, and it didn't hardly do anything. So I'm thinking, why is this not working? Everybody raves about red, and I'm doing these capsules. So then I'm like, well, let me try some of these green capsules. Let me try these white capsules. Like I thought, okay, I gotta try them all. Take my time with this, because what's interesting, Diana, is with my podcast, about half the people I talk to, they say the very first time they took it, amazing. Life-changing the moment they took it. And then there's the other 50% of us where it took some trial and error. Sometimes a few days, sometimes a few weeks, everybody's different. It took me a few weeks to really figure out green and powder. Get over yourself, drink the nasty swamp water tea. It's not going to be that bad. And so, I just had but it took a good couple of weeks of just trial and error. But I kept a journal, a dose journal, and that was so helpful. A few people had said, you want to keep a journal. And I'm glad I did, because I would write down the date, the time, what kind I took, and how it made me feel. And I could easily see okay, these reds don't work on me. Oh, it's a little better when I do powder instead of capsules. So it just took a little time, but I'm glad I didn't give up, because if you give up, then you just don't know what the power of this plant could be for you. And I think a lot of people give up because things aren't happening. And I was just determined to not have to buy my meds on the streets, and worry about fentanyl, because that's in everything on the streets.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, I can totally relate, because I tried the capsules for a long time. And then I think it also, we talk about this a lot in all of the Kratom spaces, right? But it depends on the vendor and having a quality product, having good quality powder. I feel that's what changed my mind. And then figuring out that, weirdly, it mixes very well with Powerade or Gatorade. Right. What led me to where I'm at, because I'm still a wuss about the swamp water.
I'm used to it now. I've been using it every day for 6.5 years. But let me tell you a hack that helped. Yeah. It took me a few years of drinking my swamp water every day, multiple times a day. But one time I used a straw. I'm like, oh my God, I don't taste it as much. So I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner. And so I still always drink mine with the straw. And I don't do a big drink. I literally heat up enough water just so I can mix my 2 teaspoons of powder. I'm taking the same dose I've been taking for 6 years, 2 teaspoons every 6 hours. That's what works for me to keep me relatively pain-free. And I just mix it, just a small amount of water, mix it up. I let it cool off for a bit, because I don't want to drink hot, swampy orange juice, Kratom water. So I let it cool off a little bit, and then I just add some orange juice, and it's just a small cup of it, and I drink it fast. But the straw just really made a huge difference.
That's awesome. I should tell my husband, because he definitely does he does the toss and wash, which I just, I can't do. But what you said about being the same amount for 6 years and it's managing your pain, I feel like that is such a testimony to the fact that it isn't as dangerous as opioids. It's not anywhere
100%.
near. So to that point, you've heard a lot of people say that, right? Because in the last 2 years, you've done a lot of episodes, an impressive amount. So what is the most, or some of the most surprising elements of that journey? Like what have been some of the more surprising things that you've learned about people's usage and habits and things like that?
It's so interesting because everybody's different with this plant, right? And I'm currently at 84 episodes of the Kratom Stories podcast. There's a lot of them.
That's
People want to
awesome.
go listen to it. Just go to KratomStoriesPodcast.com. It's also in your favorite podcast player, YouTube, Spotify, everywhere.
It'll be in the show notes.
Yeah. You can link to it in the show notes. That'll be awesome. So people can go check it out. Some of the interesting things that has surprised me was how many times somebody in the course of our interview say, like, for an example, they're using Kratom because of their chronic pain issues. So they're talking about all this, and then they say, you know what? Through this, I realize I don't need my anxiety medications anymore, or I don't need my ADHD medication anymore. So many times my guests will say, I also realize I don't crave alcohol anymore. And one of my guests uses Kratom to curb her addiction to opiates. She had a huge drug problem for a long time, and it's helped her tremendously. And then when I was interviewing her, she said, I realize I've had a 6-pack of beer in my refrigerator for months. It never sits for months. It usually is gone very quickly. She goes, I realize I don't even want it. And she goes, you know what? I'm going to throw it out. I'm like, that is wild to me. So it's just, I find it so interesting, like how many people are able to get off a ton of meds, a ton of pharmaceuticals, or they just realize they don't even drink alcohol anymore, and they're fine with that. Like, just interesting how this plant is, as Dr. McCurdy, leading Kratom scientist, says, it's like a symphony orchestra. It does so much.
Absolutely. So it can be a little challenging to hear people's stories, especially when it's something that's so controversial and misunderstood. How do you keep yourself committed to that purpose? I mean, is it not that challenging for you? Because you seem like you're so
not challenging.
You're so passionate about it.
I'm the kind of person that I get very passionate about what I call my passion projects. Like, I always have some kind of passion project. My first one was when I started in digital marketing 30 years ago. The internet was new. This whole .com thing, most people hadn't heard of it yet. And I actually became one of the very first web designers here in Houston, where I live. It was such a new thing.
Wow.
Hardly anybody knew HTML, and I self-taught, and I'm like, oh, I could turn this into a business. People were asking me to create web pages. And with all this emerging technology and watching like where I felt internet was going, I'm like, I'm going to start an online community for female musicians. I grew up playing guitar. I never played professionally, but it was just something I just always liked. I liked being around musicians. I love live music, and I like playing guitar. I don't want to play it in front of people, but it was something I just always enjoyed. So I thought, I'm going to start a web page and use it as a way to connect with other female musicians. And this could be really fun. And I didn't know what I was doing. It was just this idea. I just wanted to use this whole new .com thing. And it just became this huge passion project. It was something I did I did that for like 20 years. And it was just always this side passion project that I would basically do full time, but it was something I just did out of passion. And so over the years, I realized there's always some kind of passion I have that I like to do in addition to everything else. And the whole Kratom thing, after my mom's passing, and I was able to here's my next chapter in life, I got really into doing the podcast. Well, also in December 2023, and this is just very me, and it makes me think of the music community I started 30 years ago, is that I just can't do one thing. And so I started the podcast in the same month. I also started the live stream, the Kratom Gals, and it was just this random idea I had for live streaming because I love live streaming. And I also started Kratom Real Talk, which is our private online community on the school platform over at kratomrealtalk.com. Looking back, I'm like, I can't believe I started all that at the same time, but I did. But it's also very me to do that. So I stay very passionate because it's something that's so personal and important to me. And when I learn things, I like to share the information with others. Like I'm also this whole techie geek, and my other stuff is helping people understand social media and AI. But I've been leaning more with AI because I really like it and I'm very passionate about it. And so I just like to learn things and then share it with others. So that with Kratom, I want people to know there's a plant that might help you. And I've had people say to me, Madalyn, I found out about you on TikTok or YouTube. I love your podcast. And I was able to fire my pain management doctor because I learned about this plant from you. And that to me is amazing. That's not why I do this, but it keeps me motivated to keep on because it's stories like that is changing lives.
That's amazing. What's your sign, by the way? Because I'm just wondering now that you're
I'm a Capricorn.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So since you mentioned the Kratom Gals, why don't we talk about that a little bit? What is the Kratom Gals?
So the Kratom Gals was this idea
What
I
are
started.
they?
Yes, it was an idea I started a couple of years ago as an experiment. So I love live streaming. I think that's a great way to connect with people and to share your thoughts on something. And I thought, there were so many videos all over social media about Kratom, good, bad, ugly, everything. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to start a live stream where a group of us come on screen, we watch videos about Kratom, and then we talk about it, we react to it. So basically like a whole reaction video thing, but do it in a live stream format because hands down, live stream is the easiest thing to do. There's no editing. I just play videos, we talk, and that's it, And I was getting to know some other super advocates in the Kratom community. A bunch of us met on X, formerly Twitter. And there was like this group of advocates. We were all became friends. And I thought, let me ask some of these friends of mine if they want to try this with me. And not all of them were comfortable being on camera, but they are all like, yeah, well, let's go for it. Let's try this out. So it was 4 of us gals, and I'm a very marketing kind of person. And I just remember thinking, well, there's 4 of us gals. We're going to talk about Kratom, whatever thing I call my things I do. I always want to explain itself, whatever it's called. Like Kratom Stories podcast is obviously a podcast about Kratom with people sharing their stories. So with Kratom Gals, it sounded really catchy and fun. And I thought that's kind of a cool name. So I just called it the Kratom Gals. And we just did it as an experiment, and it was so much fun. And I just found videos for us to watch. And we watched it. We talked about it. People loved it. People kept showing back up each week. So I just thought, let's try this for a month or two and see if people even care. And here's been 2 years and people love it. We have regulars. We do it every Saturday afternoon. We got all these regulars that show up to watch live. They're in the live chat on YouTube with us. We're all interacting. I can put their comments on screen. And it is so much fun. I'm helping to bring people together to discuss Kratom, to learn more about Kratom, to learn about advocacy. We're learning, here's how they're portraying Kratom in the media so that we can talk about it and let people know, no, Kratom is not bad. There's all these horrible news stories. Every week I have a handful of news stories from around the country of just craziness. Recently, there was a news story. They're talking about 7-OH, but the whole time they're showing Kratom powder products all over the screen. They never once show 7-OH, just Kratom powder. And it's frustrating. So we're just trying to help empower people. Like, this is how this plant is portrayed. And hopefully it's inspiring more people to advocate. But also, there's also good positive stuff out there. And we watch that too. So it's a very well-rounded show. I love doing it. So it's every Saturday at 2:00 Eastern. We do it for a couple hours. It's a lot of fun.
So you pick out things from like just certain pieces of media about Kratom and then respond to them and open it up to the audience?
Yeah, yeah.
basically.
I go find. I just. It's not hard to uncover videos about kratom. There's so many of them, and these days with all the 708 and the controversy with that, there's a lot of that too. So I just find some different videos. I kind of put a little playlist together, and we just go through them one at a time and talk. I'll play a video. We'll talk about it. Also, we'll play some hearings around the country because kratom keeps getting under threat for being banned around the country, and like right now, there's been a bunch of hearings. So. We'll watch some of those hearings just so that we're all aware of what's going on. Before I got involved with doing all this advocacy, really, my information came from the American Kratom Association, and all they do is an email newsletter, and they do like typically a monthly advocacy webinar. But I felt like there needs to be more, and it's just something that I could just do. I mean, nobody pays me to do it. It's just something I do out of passion, but I feel like we're educating so many people and it's just become really important. So yeah, it's just something I love doing. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And I also love the word super advocate.
I think those of
So
us that are out here and we're making videos and talking loudly online, I mean, I see there's lots of people advocating, but and I know not everybody can, maybe with their job, they can't, showing their face or using their name and stuff. And I totally get it. But there's definitely a smaller group of people that really just are constantly out there and doing a lot. And it's important, and we need more people like that. So I call them super advocates.
Well, I like that. And to that point about being online and being public, it's difficult because there's such a shroud of controversy, covering this plant. It's just a plant. It's, we've gone over it many times on this show, but it's just a plant. But it's misreported, and there is a lot of misinformation out there, and it becomes increasingly more difficult to give people the truth because social media platforms, as you know, do not like it, do not want us to talk about kratom. And I see that you definitely deal with that
every day, especially right now.
I know.
Especially right now, it's bad right now. I mean, I'm in trouble with TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube at the moment.
So talk about that a little bit more.
It's incredibly frustrating. So they're all on a rampage right now. So currently at the moment, my TikTok is under constant threat of being deleted. They put an account ban warning on it months ago, and they give me a reminder every time I log in, because you don't see it on the public side, but when I log in on my profile underneath Kratom stories, it says in red letters, account ban. It used to say account ban warning. Right now it just says account ban. Account ban. And they scrutinize everything I post. And just yesterday they gave me they took down several videos and gave me a strike. They did another strike earlier this week. I'm actually surprised my current TikTok account is still there. The name of it, I had to do like an interesting name, is at Tea Leaf Podcast, TEA Tea Leaf Podcast. But also, if you type in Kratom Stories and do the number 8, you can find it that way too. But I have a backup that's Kratom Real Talk, and Kratom with an A, KR8 TOM. This current TikTok, an interesting story of how my Kratom Real Talk school community came about 2 years ago is that my first TikTok account, everything's great, posting videos, educating people, never got in trouble. Out of the blue, they deleted my account. No warning, no strikes, nothing. Like literally, I go on there, the account's gone. And a lot of the advocates say this happens, like, kind of get used to it because, a lot of them said we're all on multiple accounts. Like none of us have our first account. So that day, I set up a new TikTok, which is my current one. But also on that day, I went over to the school platform and set up Kratom Real Talk. So we have a private community where we can always talk about Kratom with no censorship. So I always encourage people to come over there. I'm still going to be on social media because that's the best place to cast the wide net to go meet as many people and talk to other like-minded Kratom consumers. But I'm trying to get more people to come over to these private platforms because we don't have to worry about censorship. I can post any kind of video on Kratom Real Talk and I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm the one that controls it. I pay a monthly fee so that I can bring a community like that together where there's a promise of no censorship. When we're on these social media platforms, they can do whatever they want. So TikTok's gotten really strict. They have stricter community guidelines that they put into place a few months ago. Facebook also has been on a rampage, and they've been using AI to go in and delete posts that have the word Kratom in it. And on my personal Facebook, I hardly ever talk about Kratom. It's more business stuff. And they found some really old posts talking about my Kratom podcast. And I got a notice they deleted them. Some of these posts were from 2 years ago. So they deleted these and put like a warning on my account. So I can't live stream. I don't do much Kratom stuff on my personal Facebook. I use it more for business. I do a business live stream on there that I can't do right now because they put me in this timeout for a month because they don't like that I have old Kratom posts. And then YouTube I'm in this 2-week timeout on YouTube because they didn't like a video I posted. And apparently I broke their community guidelines with it. So first time it happened about a month ago, they put me in a 1-week timeout. And I feel like I'm being treated like a child. It's like, you can't do anything for a whole week. So you can't even notify your community. So Kratom Gals couldn't happen on my YouTube, and that's where a majority of people go to watch. So I had to go set up a backup YouTube. It's been a whole mess. So hopefully hopefully tomorrow it'll be lifted so I can be back, but I have a backup just in case. But they keep threatening us with losing our accounts because they don't want us talking about Kratom. I think that's just wrong. This is supposed to be a country of free speech. Why can't we talk about a plant that's federally legal that doesn't kill people? I'm dumbfounded, but it doesn't stop me. I'm going to advocate all this.
Well, I appreciate that. It's confusing to me because, well, it's not really confusing. It's frustrating, I should say, because there's so much information about 7-OH out there. And like you said, people are conflating it. And so when you want to bring a new person on board or someone is curious about this, you can't just say like, oh, go look at Kratom Stories podcast account on TikTok. You have to put an 8 in there. You have to put it's the same thing with cannabis, but I feel like it's worse with Kratom because of the 7-OH coverage. And it's like trying to educate people because, as you know, people who don't know any better might go and buy 7-OH and think it's the same thing. And here you are only educating people. You're not even saying, go use it.
Right. I don't ever say that.
Telling people. Right. and it's not even something that gets you high, I mean, it's so mind-boggling. As long as I've been dealing with it, I still continue to marvel over that, especially like someone like you who's just really trying so hard to educate, and there's nothing illicit in your messaging at all.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
Yeah. To that point, what do you tell people who are just trying to figure out what Kratom is and how to start, and they don't know about the tricks of, that putting the 8 and all of that? Like,
yeah,
what do you tell them?
It's hard with the censorship because people don't know to spell it with an 8. As a matter of fact, on my TikTok recently, somebody had commented about the whole 8, like why, and because I'm telling people go to kratomrealtalk.com, and it's like, but you put K-R-8-T-O-M when I'm saying it. So somebody got confused and said, do I put the 8 when I go to your website? And so I made like a whole reply video about it. I'm like, no, anytime there's the number 8, we do that because we get in trouble on here. Like TikTok literally puts you in trouble if you spell the word Kratom. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's really frustrating. So what is something that you wish more people knew about Kratom?
What I wish more people knew is that it's just a plant. It's just a plant. Don't be fooled by the hype. There's so much propaganda and hype, so much misinformation. That's what motivates me so much to do the Kratom Gals show, because I just want people to see that there's nothing to be afraid of. It's a plant. Video series. I'm calling it something like a Kratom facts over fears. I'm just trying to help people really understand that so much of the information they're being fed is false, especially some of the science information. I put out a video today. It's on my YouTube and TikTok, on my backup YouTube. When I get my YouTube back tomorrow, it'll be there too. But it's basically a video talking about Kratom and seizures, because people think that Kratom causes seizures, and there's no science that supports that. And there was a new study done reviewing all of the studies, and it clearly shows that the science doesn't support that there's a problem with seizures in Kratom. So I'm just trying to help educate so people have a better understanding, and they're not buying into all that fear and misinformation.
Yes, that's important. And I totally appreciate it if I haven't made that clear enough. So we talked about all the different projects you have going on. I don't think that we completely covered everything. So before we end, can you tell people where they can find you and how they can support you?
Yeah, I mean, basically I have everything under Kratom Stories Podcast, but my website, everything is from there. So kratomstoriespodcast.com, because I've got links to a lot of things in there as well. And I'm active on TikTok when I'm not in trouble, YouTube when I'm not in trouble. There's definitely more content on those platforms when I'm not being threatened with my account being deleted. But if anything, just the website itself, there's so much information there. You can listen to the podcast from there, but also the podcast is available on all the different podcast players, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, is all around.
Awesome. And I'll have those all linked in the show notes, of course. But thank you again for joining me today. I appreciate it. And before we end, we have a Christopher's Corner featuring our friend Christopher Dini. So stay tuned for that.